It had fallen below -10°C, not unusual for early March. In Britain it had been snowing. The pair had brought woolly hats and a couple of satchels. One of them contained a bottle of what looked like French perfume. In the event that they were stopped at UK customs, the Nina Ricci fragrance might be explained away as a gift, a gallant one, with "Made in France" on the box. Aeroflot Flight SU-2588 touched down at Gatwick Airport, 30 miles south of central London. It was Friday, March 2nd, 2018, and mid-afternoon. The two Russians made their way to passport control. Bosharov had dark hair and a goatee. Petrov was clean-shaven, his hairline thinning as middle age set in. We can only guess their mood. If they were nervous, no official noticed. The British Security Service has a database of persons of interest: terrorists, criminals, fraudsters. Apparently Petrov and Bosharov weren't on it. At immigration, their passports and visas were checked and they were nodded through. What the UK Border Force didn't know is that the visitors from Moscow were actually spies, ones working for a hostile foreign power. They were career officers with Russian military intelligence, colonels even. Their real names were Anatoly Chepika, Bosharov, and Alexander Mishkin, Petrov. Their service had created a fake identity and, helpfully, in the best traditions of Cold War spycraft, had supplied them with real passports that supported their fictitious cover. Chepika and Mishkin had come to London on a secret mission. They were there to murder someone. Probably this wasn't their first such assignment, known by the KGB as mokrai dziela, or wet work. Naturally, details of such activities are hard to come by, but travel records show a number of trips to Europe. This work had taken them to Amsterdam, Frankfurt, Paris, Geneva. Their employer back in Moscow was the GRU, or Glavnya Rozvedivatelnaya Upravlenia. Full title: the Main Intelligence Directorate of the General Staff of the Armed Forces of the Russian Federation. The GRU is the most powerful and secretive of Russia's 3 spy agencies. It's military, under the command of the Defense Ministry and the General Staff. Back in the USSR, the army-led GRU and the spy-led KGB were often in conflict. Some of this rivalry spilled into the post-communist era of Boris Yeltsin and Putin. The GRU was in competition with the FSB, the KGB's domestic successor, which Putin headed before becoming Prime Minister in 1999 and then President. And with the SVR, Moscow's Foreign Intelligence Agency, the former KGB's first directorate, operating under diplomatic cover. The FSB handled security at home. It sniffed out and quashed opposition to the Kremlin, arresting students and political activists, locking up bloggers and protesters, and maintaining order. From time to time it carried out foreign operations. Most took place in the near abroad, within neighbouring former Soviet republics, which Moscow continued to view as parts of its imperium. The GRU, by contrast, was global. It dealt with external threats. Its mandate was everywhere. The organization's activities ranged from traditional military deployments in war zones such as Syria to coups and invasions. Its officers saw themselves as part of a glorious tradition, stretching back to Russia's battles against Napoleon and Crimea, through to the First and Second World Wars, the latter the Great Patriotic War, as Russians call it, and the Soviet conflict in Afghanistan. Murder was something of a throwback to the GRU's 20th century heyday. The revolutionary state